front of you is a 34-year-old sailor presented with the increased effort and tolerance. For the last 6 months, he used 20 cigarettes and 2 packs of the whiskey per day for the last 10 years. Recently, he was recovered from severe common cold. On examination, the temperature was 99 degrees Fahrenheit. The pulse was 121 per minute, which is definitely higher. It is tachycardia, low volume, irregular. So there is chances that the patient has got atrial fibrillation. Blood pressure is 150 by 109. It is looking at stage 1, or 2 hypertension. And there is a pan-systolic grade 2 murmur have been heard at the apex. Investigation at the hand was the hemoglobin 13 gram. The mean corpuscular volume was 104, which is higher. Because he was alcoholic, it is justified. TLC is 11,000, which is higher, slightly higher. Platelet is 380,000, which is slightly higher, okay, देखिए. It is mild, very mild increment. The random blood sugar is 202, which is slightly higher again. Blood urea 67, higher. Creatinine 1.1 higher. Urine DR, albumin traces. ECG heart rate is 130, irregular rhythm. Low voltage ECG with non-progression of the R waves in the chest leads. The progression of the R wave is very, very low, or rather their non-progression, we can say. Their exit test was done, which shows cardiomegaly with right-sided pleural effusion. This is the scenario clinical, and we want to discuss. From this scenario, we say that actually the basic problem is that of the left ventricle and then after the right ventricle, both, they are not functioning up to the level, and due to their non-functioning or uncompromisation of the function, there are signs of the left-sided heart failure here and the right-sided heart failure. My name is Professor Syed Ali Haidar, and I am discussing these cardiomyopathies with you. Previously, I have discussed 3 or 4 sessions with the other diseases related to the heart. Now we want to discuss the cardiomyopathies. If you learn from the book, after 5 days, if you repeat, then you cannot remember. That is why the study should be under the shadow of a clinical scenario. If you want to remember nicely medicine, this should be under clinical scenarios, practically, and you have to go to see the patient with this type of a patient of the congestive cardiac failure or the cardiac failure. So there is a cardiac failure simply because he is alcoholic. Alcohol can cause it. Because he is hypertensive, hypertension can cause the same symptoms. He is a smoker, and a smoker can cause the COPD, and it can cause the failure, etc. Again, he has recovered from the common cold, so infection can cause of the heart itself and cause this problem. So there are many causes which can cause the decompensation of this person and leading to the cardiac failure. So this was the ECG I have previously shown. It is irregular. Look, the lead to where the ECG, where the P wave is missing. It is irregular. The patient has been suffering from the atrial fibrillation. Look 1, lead number 1 and ABL, this slight actually T wave inversion, it is what is called plateau wave. T wave inversion, the ST segment is very prolonged ST elevation here. And the important thing is V1 and V2, V3, V4, V5 and V6. Now R wave is not present in V1, V2, R wave is present. It is not progression, it should progress in V3 to V4 to V5, and in V6 it should be higher and very clear. There is nothing present in this patient. Again, in this patient, the long leads. See, if you see this long lead, we don't see the electrical alternance. We don't see the electrical alternance here. You see, the electrical alternance is not there because the R waves sizes are about equal. So pericardial effusion chances are much less. So in this case, the non-progression of the R wave with atrial fibrillation signifies there is a decompensation of the very severe decompensation occur. Dilatation of the heart occur in this patient, and this is the X-ray of that patient. Again, I see there is the cardiomegaly and it is the right-sided pleural effusion. The right costophrenic angle is blocked. Question: what is the differential diagnosis and what other investigation might be helpful and what is the most likely diagnosis and how will you manage? I have already said it. The differential diagnosis is nothing which is based on the cardiac failure actually. The diseases which can predispose to the cardiac failure in this patient is the differential diagnosis. The most likely diagnosis is alcoholic, which may be alcoholic type of cardiomyopathy. All other investigation might be helpful, of course we discuss later on, and management depending upon the severity of the decompensation of the heart. The cardiomyopathy's definition according to the WHO, they are unknown cases. Actually, the causes are not known, not clinically relevant causes. In 1995, WHO revised diseases of the myocardium associated with the cardiac dysfunction. So the diseases which are related to the myocardium and which are associated with the decompensation of the heart are known as cardiomyopathies. It may be primary disorders of the heart muscle. It may be secondary involvement. Pathophysiology and each with the multiple etiologies. Maybe there are two etiology, maybe there are three causes. So cardiomyopathy according to the WHO, depending upon the anatomy and the physiology of the left ventricle, dilated cardiomyopathy may be enlarged and systolic dysfunction. Hypertrophic thickened, it may be diastolic dysfunction. Restrictive, it is a diastolic dysfunction. The fourth one very interesting. It is erythromogenic right ventricular dysplasia. It is a fibrofatty replacement in the right ventricle. It is a genetic disease and it causes the SCD, the sudden cardiac death. Remember and include in your list the cause of a sudden death of a young person who was very, very healthy, sleeping at the night, and he died at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. early in the morning without warning. One cause is erythrogenic right ventricular dysplasia. There are many more. There are 7 or 8 or more than that causes related to the heart which can cause the sudden death in the young persons. Unclassified fibroblastosis of the heart may be possible. The fibroblastosis, the fibrous tissue means the reticular tissues are replaced and the elastic fibers are replaced by the collagen fibers, and there is LV non-compaction. Compaction is gone. Left ventricular non-compaction is gone. Compaction should be there in the left ventricle. which is gone. Now, to become slightly easier this presentation, the first is the cardiomyopathy specific etiology classification. Ischemic, it may be valvular, hypertensive, inflammatory, metabolic, inherited, toxic reactions, and peripartum. Now you see in the postmortem that this is the ischemic and thin scar tissues we found at in the reporting at the postmortem, at autopsy. They are involving directly to the heart and tissues. These are known causes. This is because of the ischemia and the other diseases which are written in front of you. They involve the heart muscles and destroy them, replaced by the thin scar tissues. One disease is, you can see, the dilated cardiomyopathy. According to etiology, I want to discuss, according to the etiological classification is concerned, the cause of the disease is not known. The cause of the disease is known. But here the classification is done on the basis of the morphology of the heart in cases of the primary involvement of the myofibrils. There may be three types you can describe in this fashion: dilated cardiomyopathy, the hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, and restrictive cardiomyopathy. So I will deal with the three types of the cardiomyopathies. The dilated cardiomyopathy are the dilation and the impaired contraction of the ventricles. It is not hypertrophic. It is not necessary. So there is a reduced systolic function with or without heart failure, characterized by the myocytic damage. The damage occurs. Because of it may be idiopathic, it may be the alcohol, it may be the other cause. Multiple etiologies, the similar resultant pathophysiology. Pathophysiology is the same. I said previously here that is thin scar tissue. The majority of the cases are idiopathic. Incidence of the idiopathic dilated cardiomyopathy is 5 to 8 in 100,000, and incidence likely higher due to the mild asymptomatic cases. 3 times more prevalent among males. They are 3 times more prevalent among the males, African Americans. They are they have got a common problem, this type of idiopathic. They don't know the exact cause, what was the cause behind it. The dilated cardiomyopathy is ischemic valvular hypertensive. It may be familial, it may be idiopathic. Inflammatory causes are there in infections. Viral like coronavirus group, Coxsackie B viruses is a very important virus. It involves the heart. I have seen many cases. The cytomegalovirus and the HIV, rickettsial disease, Lyme disease, parasitic Chagas disease, very important, caused by Trichomonas cruzi, and Toxoplasma gondii can involve the heart. Non-infectious like collagen vascular diseases like the SLE, RA, rheumatoid arthritis, and it may be peripartum. Toxic alcohol and anthracyclines, erythromycin, these are the anti-cancer drugs, cocaine. Metabolic causes like endocrine, thyroid disease, pheochromocytomas, diabetes mellitus, acromegaly, these can act on the heart muscles, can weaken the heart muscles. Nutritional, it may be thiamine deficiency, in beriberi, the heart is involved and can cause the cardiac failure, that. And in selenium deficiencies and carnitine, deficiencies and neuromuscular disorders like Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, specifically speaking here. But other myopathies of the muscles, skeletal muscle, can involve the heart also. It may be the other one. There are other than Duchenne muscular dystrophies. Myotonic dystrophies can cause the cardiomyopathy. Now prognosis depends upon the etiology. जो मरखब की भी सबसे अहम तरीन HIV है, वो the heart is involved although there are chances of recovery, slight recovery. पेरिपार्टम कार्डियोमायोपैथी ऊपर देखें अगर यहाँ पे तो इसका कर्व जो फ्लैट है ये पूरी लाइफ रहना है, इसको नहीं जाना है. The thing is this, in other type of the ischemic heart disease, if the ischemia is managed properly, it is possible that, or hypertension is properly managed, the chances that the cardiomyopathy will become more manageable, easily manageable. Acute viral myocarditis, as I said, this is very important disease. Now this is the Coxsackie B virus or Acovirus, the Picrona group of virus. These are RNA virus. इस आजकल जो है जो COVID-19 है इसके बारे में भी कहा गया है कि it is a part of it. It is RNA virus and it can involve the heart also. अभी ये जो है ना जो postmortem examination होंगे, because in the near future there are a lot of the postmortem reports are coming कि वो ही बताएंगी कि इसने किन किन चीज़ों को इन्वॉल्व किया था इस ग्रुप ऑफ वायरस ने. COVID-19 की बात हो रही है. इट इज़ सेल्फ लिमिटेड इन्फेक्शन इन यंग पीपल. इन्फेक्शन आया चला गया, बाद में मालूम चला कि भाई पेशेंट ब्लड टेस्ट होनी शुरू हो गई. इसको हमारे पास आया, हमने एग्जामिनेशन किया, मालूम चला कार्डियोमेगाली है. कार्डियोमेगाली क्यों है? ये नॉट अल्कोहलिक नॉन हाइपरटेंसिव. मालूम ये चला कि इसको इन्फेक्शन हुआ था, अपर रेस्पिरेटरी इन्फेक्शन हुआ था तकरीबन 2-3 हफ्ते पहले, एंड उसके बाद ही शुरू हुआ. लंग्स वर क्लियर एंड अदर इन्वेस्टिगेशन वर क्लियर. ओनली थिंग इज दिस, देयर इज अ डिफिकल्टी इन द पंपिंग ऑफ द लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल एंड देन आफ्टर द राइट वेंट्रिकल. Mechanism is that the myocyte cell death occurs and replaced by the fibrosis. In many of the people, it is the organic problem, but in some cases there is no finding is there. It is immune mediated injury possibly, they said. No change with the immunosuppressive drugs. Immunosuppression देने से immune mediated injury खत्म हो जाना चाहिए था, वो भी नहीं मिली इनको. पहले आपसे कहते थे फंक्शनल डिसऑर्डर है. दिस इज रादर ऑर्गेनिक आप कह सकते हैं. ऑर्गेनिक में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मायोसाइट की सेल डेथ मिल जाएगी एंड रिप्लेस विद फाइब्रोसिस, बट नॉट इन ऑल केसेस. टॉक्सिक टाइप अल्कोहलिक कार्डियोमायोपैथी, यहाँ दिस again the same myocytal death and fibrosis and directly inhibit the mitochondrial oxidative phosphorylation and fatty acid oxidation. It is reversible with abstinence. It can be reversible. तो इसकी उम्मीद रख सकते हैं कि मरीज बेहतर हो सकता है. Inherited like familial cardiomyopathy, 30% Hispanic, idiopathic, they don't know the exact cause. Autosomal dominant and recessive, in some cases X-linked, and mitochondrial diseases associated with the heart. Associated phenotypes like skeletal muscle abnormalities and neurological and auditory. Mechanisms are abnormalities in the energy production and the contractile force generation. This is the mechanism of this dilated familial cardiomyopathy. Specific genes coding for the myosin acting and dystrophin. This is very important. One of the dilated cardiomyopathy is the peripartum. यानी ये लास्ट मंथ प्रेगनेंसी का जो 3rd ट्राइमेस्टर है और 3 महीने उसके बाद पोस्टमार्टम इसको कहते हैं पेरीपार्टम. इस दौरान द डिजीज अकर्स. तो ज़्यादातर 1 मंथ प्री होता है, 5 मंथ पोस्ट होता है ज़्यादातर, लेकिन ये ज़रूरी नहीं है. इट इज़ नॉट नेसेसरी. द एको विच सी द लेफ्ट ventricle dysfunction and the left ventricle ejection fraction is less than 45%. And end-diastolic volume is more than 2.7, means ज़्यादा बढ़ता चला जा रहा है. ये डायग्नोस्टिक क्राइटेरिया है प्रेग्नेंट वुमेन का, जो आपके सामने लिखा गया है. और ये आपके सामने केसेस आएंगे और अपनी ज़िंदगी में आते रहेंगे. द प्रपोज मैकेनिज्म है इन्फ्लेमेटरी साइटोकाइंस प्रोबेबली डिस्ट्रॉय. स्कीमिया उसने प्रोड्यूस किया है, फाइब्रोसिस प्रोड्यूस किया है वहाँ पे, और फैटी टिश्यू रिप्लेस किया है इन्फ्लेमेटरी साइटोकाइंस ने. प्रोग्नोसिस इज नॉट एनी वेरी गुड हियर because the death occurs in the United States is 245. Death of cardiomyopathy occurs with 0.88 in 100,000 live births. Increase with the age of the maternal age, and it is 6.4 times greater in those people who are African Americans. African Americans 6.4 times greater. The risk of recurrent surgery, recurrent pregnancy, in the further pregnancy, it can come, and it will further damage the heart. It is possible. So, retrospective survey will show that 44 women in 16 versus 28. 16 got the ejection fraction lowered. The congestive heart failure was present in those women in 44%. So 16 were affected in the second or subsequent pregnancy. The contractile reserve reduced in the patient in 7 women afterwards. This is the further, what is known as the endpoints of the studies. जैसे आप कहते हैं, उसमें यह है कि basically more of the cases they can become asymptomatic afterwards, but the disease will be there. The dilated cardiomyopathy, basically here you see the fibrosis is there, fibrofatty tissue is replaced in the right ventricle and in the left ventricle both. And the mechanism of the heart failure described is that it is a ischemic injury or myocardial disease, whatever it is, or neurohormone, cytokine, oxidative stresses are there. They are causing the altered molecular expression and ultrastructure changes, myocyte hypertrophy or myocyte contractile dysfunction, or death of the cell or natural apoptosis, and fibroblast proliferation and collagen deposition, and ventricular remodeling occurs, and hemodynamic derangement leading to the clinical heart failure, leading to the arrhythmia, and leading to the bad prognosis in the future. Already mentioned about the pathophysiology, because if it is replaced by the fibrofatty tissue, the function of the heart will be gone, and it is challenging the Frank-Starling mechanism. That's why it will go into the cardiac failure, and eventual decompensation occurs with ventricular remodeling. Remodeling means that it tries to compensate the disease. But anyway, there will be the apoptosis and the myocyte death, and it will affect on the dilatation effect on the valves. Valve will be stretched out, and there will be valvular regurgitation in the different areas of the heart. The Starling curve, this is this is shown. How the left ventricle or right ventricle is dependent on this Starling law. मैंने पूछा था जब मैं लेक्चर लिया करता था स्टार्लिंग का लॉ बताओ फाइनली लोगों से, तो उनमें से एक ने भी नहीं बताया था। ये मैं आपको बता दूँ कि स्टार्लिंग लॉ है क्या। मैंने कहा मैं जाहिल आदमी हूँ, मुझे आप समझाएं कि स्टार्लिंग लॉ होता क्या है। मैं स्टार्लिंग लॉ नहीं बता सके क्योंकि सेकेंड ईयर में वो पढ़ चुके थे। स्टार्लिंग लॉ हमेशा याद रखिए कि बात ये है कि ये पूरी ज़िंदगी आपका साथ नहीं छोड़ेगा, चिमट के रह जाएगा, चाहे आप अमेरिकन एग्जामिनेशन दे रहे हो, चाहे आप ब्रिटिश एग्जामिनेशन दे रहे हो। इसके लिए जो है ना ज़ाहिर हमेशा याद रखिए कि जितना जो है प्री लोड ज़्यादा होगा उतना पोस्ट लोड ज़्यादा हो जाएगा। हार्ट में जितना लोड आप देंगे उतना उसको काम करना पड़ेगा। जैसे स्टार्लिंग लॉ। अब इसके अंदर मसला ये है कि आपने प्री लोड को जो है ना वो भी उसको नहीं मिल रहा, पोस्ट लोड उसका जो है आफ्टर लोड वो भी कम हो गया। तो दिस टाइप ऑफ द कर्व occurs which is seen and it is called Starling curve। ये आपको नजर आ रहा है। Now pathophysiology is neurohormonal, again the same one of the congestive cardiac failure। The adrenergic nervous system is stimulated and renin-angiotensin aldosterone axis is stimulated. Vasopressin is releasing natriuretic peptides. They are releasing endothelins are new inventions. They are releasing and they are acting on the heart muscle and reduce response to the adrenergic stimulation. The beta receptor density in the healthy individuals is related with the cardiomyopathy is different. It is a bad response, it is a poor response against the adrenergic stimulation in cardiomyopathies. And this is a chart which is in front of you. In the end, aldosterone is released and aldosterone is releasing and acting on the tubules, distilled convoluted tubules. It will absorb more and more sodium and water is absorbed more and more. There is water and the sodium retention in the body. The same one in the congestive cardiac failure occurs. And there is, you have to manage, you have to think that the management depends upon this diagram. You have to reduce the actions of the angiotensin 2, because angiotensin 2, if it is blocked, then the further damage cannot occur or further worsening of the symptom will not occur. Angiotensin 2 affects our vasoconstriction and aldosterone production and the myocyte. It can go for the hypertrophy of the myocyte, fibroblast proliferation, collagen deposition. Apoptosis, it is increasing apoptosis, prothrombotic, it is pro-oxidant, and it is adrenergic stimulation itself. It is doing the work of adrenergic type of stimulation, and endothelial dysfunction can occur with angiotensin 2 effects. More are the angiotensin 2, more are the harms it will go. The kidney in the heart failure, they will reduce renal blood flow occur and reduce glomerular filtration, increase renin production, increase sodium resorption occur, and increase free water retention. I say that is water and salt retention is the problem. For the student, the two words should be remembered: water retention and salt retention. Now remodeling occurs, of course, in this case because एक चीज़ है जो खराब हो गई है. For example, it is ischemic. In fact, जो है वो expansion करता है, फिर wall thickening होती है, thinning होती है, left ventricle dilatation होता है, वो हो जाता है, worsening हो जाती है इसकी. तो remodeling of the heart occurs in the cases of the ischemic type. It is seen in this diagram following the myocardial infarction. हमने देखा है मोस्टली जो है इवन PTCA भी करा लिया लोगों ने, इवन CABG करा लिया, 4 साल के बाद उनको जो है ना डायलेटेड कार्डियोमायोपैथी हो गई. ये मेरी स्टडी है, मुझे 5 साल में जो मैंने की है. मैंने 100 से ज़्यादा केसेस देखे हैं जिसमें से 70% से ज़्यादा लोगों को डायलेटेड कार्डियोमायोपैथी हुई है. Now, clinical findings are the biventricular congestive failure. Here, both sides are involved. Low forward cardiac output is there. There will be pulmonary congestion because of the left ventricle is involved. And there is systemic congestion because right ventricle is involved. You will find the edema, ascites and weight gain. You will find S3. You will find the displacement of the apex beat. You will find the fine crepitation. You will find the increased JVP. All things which I have done already in the congestive cardiac failure. The same findings you are depicted in this. I don't want to discuss and repeat it again, because there are signs of the right ventricular failure are different, and the signs and symptoms of the left ventricular failure are different. Both are present in one case. It is biventricular failure. Diagnosis is that in the chest X-ray there is increased heart. In the shadow is there, cardiac salute, cardiomegaly. There will be the chances of pleural effusion. And electrocardiogram in some cases are normal, but in some cases there is tachycardia. I said already, there is non-progression of the R wave, which is the diagnostic point of the cardiomyopathies. It may be associated with the left bundle barn block or right bundle barn block, or Q waves. Significantly, it will signify that the infarction occurs at one time and it is causing the dilated cardiomyopathy. Blood tests can be done in these cases. Other than the ANF or BNF, the immunological tests can be done. Echocardiography will show the left ventricle size is increased, wall thickness function is definitely decompensated, and cardiac catheterization studies are confirming the diagnosis, but in the end the diagnosis is only confirmed according to the American Heart Association by endomyocardial biopsy, which is difficult to do in our country. They said you cannot label anybody cardiomyopathy only when you have done the endomyocardial biopsy, then you can label. Now these are the criteria of the NYHA functional classification depending upon the severity of the breathlessness. The aim of the treatment is to reduce the preload and to reduce the afterload, and this is the same management as congestive cardiac failure. Nowadays, in cases of they are doing electrical and mechanical ventricular synchrony. Experimentally introduced left bundle branch block has effect on the expression of the regional stress kinases and calcium handling proteins. This is the research work. Now, expression of the P38 MAPK stress kinase is elevated in the endocardium of the late activated region, whereas the phospholamban is decreased. These are the chemicals which are present in the myocardium. Now, sarcoplasmic reticulum calcium and ATPase is decreased in the region of early activation. So they are doing the electrical and the mechanical ventricular disc synchrony. There are the deleterious hemodynamic effects on the left ventricular dyschrony. They are doing this procedure. There are more worsening of the symptoms of the reduced stroke volume and cardiac output due to the reduced diastolic time, filling time and beacon contact delay, etc. So these are not benefited in these patients. Another thing, they can do cardiac resynchronization therapy. It can improve the hemodynamics. It can reverse the left ventricular remodeling and architecture. This is a good mechanism. It's just like you are putting pacemaker inside the heart, touching the specific area targeting that area and doing this resynchronization. The second type of the cardiomyopathy is HOCM, hypertensive obstructive cardiomyopathy. In this case, the thing is most patients are the young patients. And the patients, they are presented in two. One is sudden cardiac death, and secondly, they are presented as congestive cardiac failure, or these are the patients who are presented with gradually increment of the effort tolerance. They have got effort intolerance. They increases with the age and higher in women. But actually it is a diastolic dysfunction in this case. Previously dilated cardiomyopathy, this is a systolic dysfunction mainly. Now in hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, there is diastolic dysfunction. The left ventricular hypertrophy, not due to pressure overload, hypertrophy is variable in both severity and location. The important thing morphologically is asymmetrical septal hypertrophy, ASH. Symmetrical it may be non-obstructive, and there is the apical hypertrophy. There are three variants, but asymmetrical septal hypertrophy is the very diagnostic point of the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Vigorous systolic dysfunction. In this case, prevalence is high, 1 in 500 in general population. Again, this is one case in which there is sudden death, again, or more chances of the sudden death and more chances. Etiology, they don't know. The familial, this is maybe in more than 55%, it is autosomal dominant transmission. And remainder are the spontaneous mutation, we don't know exactly. I have seen a case of a 19-year-old boy who was studying in the ND. He was the only child of the parent. He died because of the hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy when he was in final year of his career. How the patient suffered, you can imagine. Hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Now here is, and the thing is, there is a hypertrophy, localized hypertrophy. It is septal hypertrophy, asymmetrical septal hypertrophy. It may be the hypertrophy of the left ventricle in a specific species sites, or it may be apical only. Whatever there is a two type of problem. The myocyte will be hypertrophied, and the dynamic left ventricle outflow obstruction. There are two basic problems. Now the myocyte hypertrophy will cause the sudden death, syncope, dyspnea, angina can occur because of the myocytic volume of oxygenation will be poor and poorer, and of that site. Because of the dilatation, the mitral regurgitation occurs, and because of the failure, the reduced cardiac output with exertion, all can cause dyspnea, all can cause angina, all can cause syncope, and all can cause sudden death. The hypertrophic cardiomyopathy with outflow obstruction, this is the problem, basically problem. The outflow obstruction on the left ventricle is obstructed. So there is another important point regarding the diagnosis is the SAM. हमेशा याद रखिए, ये आपको एकोकार्डियोग्राफी में मिलेगा. Systolic anterior motion of the mitral valve, which is the diagnostic point of echocardiography for the hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. It should be addressed. It is a diagnostic point. So there is a reduced left ventricular outflow in the echocardiography. There is asymmetrical septal hypertrophy. These are the diagnostic point of the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Now, physical examination, you will find the Bispherian pulse. Now, Bispherian pulse is this. It is a doubling of the peak. ऊपर जाती है, फिर नीचे आती है, फिर ऊपर जाती है, और फिर उसके बाद डायक्रोटिक नॉच होती है. एओर्टिक स्टेनोसिस की पल्स और इसकी पल्स बराबर है, सेम पल्स. So these are pulses Bispherians. देर एस फॉर गैलेवन क्रिसेंडो डिक्रेसेंडो सिस्टोलिक इजेक्शन मर्मर आपको मिलेगा माइट्रल एरिया या लेफ्ट पैरास्टर्नल बॉर्डर पे। ये बड़ा स्पेसिफिक मर्मर होता है और बिल्कुल सेम मर्मर होता है जो एओर्टिक स्टेनोसिस का होता है। दोनों में डिफरेंस करने के लिए क्या करते हैं, इन वाल्सल्वा में HOCM का मर्मर जो होता है इंक्रीज होता है, वाल्सल्वा मैनूवर में, और एओर्टिक स्टेनोसिस में रिड्यूस हो जाता है। स्क्वाटिंग के अंदर जो है वो HOCM का मर्मर जो होता है, स्क्वाट करा के अगर आप मर्मर सुनेंगे तो वो रिड्यूस हो जाता है, जबकि एओर्टिक स्टेनोसिस का मर्मर जो इंक्रीज हो जाता है। स्टैंडिंग अगर आप करा दें, मरीज को खड़ा कर दें, तो वो जो है उसमें HOCM का जो मर्मर है वो इंक्रीज हो जाता है, जबकि एओर्टिक स्टेनोसिस का मर्मर जो है वो रिड्यूस हो जाता है। प्लस यू विल फाइंड द होलो सिस्टोलिक एपिकल ब्लोइंग मर्मर ऑफ द माइट्रल रिगर्जिटेशन, बिकॉज ये जो है जब कंप्रेस करता है माइट्रल वेल्व के कस्प को, तो देयर विल बी माइट्रल रिगर्जिटेशन। तो जहाँ पे आपको माइट्रल रिगर्जिटेशन पढ़ाया था हमने, वहाँ आपको बताया था कि इट मे बी अ सेकेंडरी टाइप ऑफ द इफेक्ट्स which can cause the mitral regurgitation, and one cause was HOCM. Diagnosis study, I have already done the electrocardiogram, the same finding you will find. 2D, two-dimensional echocardiography, very diagnostic of the points which I have done. The cardiac catheterization can be done to confirm your diagnosis. Atrial fibrillation here in this, which is seen here, it is the irregular pulse without P wave. It should be managed with the drugs, or it can be managed with the other means. And there is cardioversion, electrical cardioversion. It should be managed. Now treatment is here the same treatment as the cardiac failure. That is the beta blockers. If you are giving the beta blockers for the symptomatic benefits, the myocardial volume, oxygen demand is reduced. It will reduce the oxygen demand on the myocyte, and the gradient will be reduced also with exercise. So beta blockers are effective agents. Calcium channel blockers like amlodipine is effective. Antiarrhythmic agents, amiodarone, diazepamide, etc. can be given to avoid the sudden death. Ultimately, you have to go with surgical treatment. अगर आपको अपने पकड़ लिया है तो मैं तो ये कहता हूँ मायोमेक्टमी शुड बी डन। अगर मायोमेक्टमी क्या नहीं हो सकती तो ड्यूअल चैम्बर पेसमेकर अगर डाल दें, कम से कम ये हो सकता है इसमें कि सडन डेथ के चांसेस कम हो जाएंगे। और सेप्टल एब्लेशन कर सकते हैं आप। ये सेप्टल हाइपरट्रॉफी है, आप कैथेटर के कैथेटर इट कैन बी एब्लेटेड बाय इलेक्ट्रिकल स्टिमुलेशन, जैसे कि हम करते हैं दूसरी कंडीशन में एब्लेट करते हैं, यहाँ एब्लेट कर सकते हैं आप। So these are the procedures which we are doing to avoid the sudden death. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is the most common cause of death in young people in the world. There are other causes as well. They are all arrhythmogenic type of causes. One, prognosis is 2 to 4% in the adults and 4 to 6% in the children. You have to give the amiodarone in the low dose, and you have to give the anticoagulants for life for these patients. Now एथलीट्स हार्ट में भी ये होता है, वो हाइपरट्रॉफी होती है। दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या हुआ? एंडोरेंस ट्रेनिंग की वजह से जो फिजियोलॉजी इंक्रीज इन द लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकुलर मास, देयर अर्ली हाइपरट्रॉफिक कार्डियोमायोपैथी और एथलीट हार्ट को डिफरेंस करना बड़ा मुश्किल है। डेफिनेशन ये है कि सिमेट्रिकल होना चाहिए। इट इज एथलीट के हार्ट में सिमेट्रिकल होता है, एंड HCM में एसिमेट्रिकल होता है। लेस देन 13 मिलीमीटर होता है एथलीट हार्ट में, मोर देन 13 मिलीमीटर होता है इन दी हाइपरट्रॉफिक कार्डियोमायोपैथी में। तो इस तरह डिफ्रेंशिएट करते हैं एथलीट हार्ट में और दी हाइपरट्रॉफिक कार्डियोमायोपैथी में। याद रखिए HOCM के पेशेंट को मना किया जाता है अगर हमने पकड़ लिया है कि किसी किस्म की भी कोई एक्सरसाइज ना करें, उससे सडन डेथ के चांसेस बढ़ जाएंगे। The last one is restricted cardiomyopathy. In this case, there is the deposition of something in the heart. For example, the sarcoid tissue is deposited, glycogen is deposited, glycogen storage diseases, the lipid storage diseases, the other metabolic dysfunction diseases which are storing, they are accumulating on the heart and causing the fibers not to work. तो there are a lot of list ये आपके सामने लिखी गई है, इसको याद रखना नामुमकिन बात है. बस मसला ये है कि यहाँ रिस्ट्रिक्शन हो जाएगी या इसको पकड़ लेगा, हार्ट को पकड़ लेगा. ये ऊपर से कुछ चीज़ जब जमा करेंगे आप, जैसे ऊपर बर्फ़ वगैरह, हार्ट में बर्फ़ रख दिया आप, जम जाएगा ना, हार्ट जम जाएगा. ये इन्फिल्ट्रेशन डिसऑर्डर्स हैं, अमाइलोइडोसिस है, सार्कोइडोसिस है एंड दूसरे डिसऑर्डर्स. एंड so the thing is this, in most of the cases what we do, we are doing the restriction of the cardiac function. Now further we are moving further. The restrictive cardiomyopathy, which was I was discussing with the restrictive type of cardiomyopathy. Now in this case, I said that there is a long list. Even the disease list is not complete here. But the most commonest diseases are scleroderma, diabetes mellitus, sarcoidosis, and the storage diseases like hemochromatosis, carcinoid syndrome can cause this. But other than that, there are a long list, maybe more than 40-50 causes of the restrictive cardiomyopathy. So amyloidosis is primary amyloidosis and maybe secondary amyloidosis, which can cause amyloid proteins to deposit in the myocardium and restrict the activity of the myocardium. It is in this slide which is shown, the diagnosis has been done by staining specifically the myocardium with amyloids for the amyloidosis. So the amyloid cardiomyopathy, postmortem result autopsy, you see that the fibro-fatty tissues are deposited all over, but it is restricting the myofibril to contract. Sarcoidosis can cause restriction conduction system abnormalities. And the endomyocardial fibrosis, again, this is a disease which is seen in the parts of Africa, India and South. And it is also associated with the hypereosinophilic syndrome, Lafleur's endocarditis, that is, in which the eosinophils counts are much higher. It may be associated with this hypereosinophilic syndrome. We will discuss in pulmonary eosinophilia at one time. So endomyocardial fibrosis is an unknown cause disease, but it is present in India and Africa and other places. It will cause diastolic dysfunction of the heart and restrictive cardio type of the myopathy, cardiac myopathy. The pathophysiology is that it will reduce the stroke volume and the cardiac output, of course, and elevated the systemic and pulmonary venous pressure, the same. And basically, on the right sided failure is more than the left sided heart failure in this condition. So the right side symptoms are more, you find. The right sided cardiac failure, like for example, JVP is raised, and there is the orthopnea, there is PND. You will find the ascites, hepatomegaly, the pedal edema, etc. Diagnostic studies are from the Doppler's catheterization, endomyocardial biopsy is the answer. And this is the a comparison between the constrictive type of the cardiomyopathy and restrictive cardiomyopathy. A comparison has been given here. In case of the restrictive cardiac myopathy, the Kussmaul sign may be present, which is also present in constrictive pericarditis, which I have discussed previously. Apical impulse here is prominent. But in constrictive pericarditis, the apical impulse or apex is not very palpable. S3 gallop may be present. Here in the constrictive pericarditis, the pericardial knock was present. Now regurgitative murmurs are common. Again, regurgitative murmurs are here, they are present but not very common. And ECG in restrictive cardiomyopathy, low voltage ECG basically, and there is conduction abnormalities, LBB or RBB. But in constrictive pericarditis, you will find the specific low voltage ECG, and maybe possibly if there is fusion, there is electrical alternance. Echocardiography will definitely signify whether restriction is there or constrictive pericarditis is there. XHS will definitely see the can cause the, or you can see the pericardial calcification in constrictive pericarditis. But both conditions are very similar and they are causing the diastolic dysfunction. That is why they are here, the differential diagnosis and the comparison has been made. The treatment of the restrictive cardiomyopathy is the same one. Remove the cause if possible. Number 2, give diuretics to reduce the preload. Or you give digoxin directly acting on the heart. Or you give to reduce the afterload. Reduce afterload by giving the ACE inhibitors in low dose. Anti-arrhythmic agents can be used, like amiodarone for atrial fibrillation, which is a common problem. Pacemaker can be done. Pacemaking can be done if the conduction tissue is involved, and there is right bundle branch block or left bundle branch block, hemiblocks. The dual chamber pacemakers are the answer. So these are the type of the cardiomyopathy which I have discussed in a very detailed session which was, although it is a big